Time for a Great Flinders Netball Association update with Elizabeth Burns. Elizabeth, thank you very much for joining me.
My pleasure.
Always good to have you here, and we'll get straight into the round 12 action. We had a top-of-the-table clash, Tumby Bay 28 on top of Elliston 21, so Tumby Bay staying undefeated.
They are. Very, very interesting game. They are 1 and 2 on the ladder. They were the last year's grand finalist matchup, and a very, very low-scoring game. There was only 49 goals scored for the entire game, which was quite surprising. I was expecting it to be an absolute, zinger of a game, but I think it was actually more of a hard slog. Some very, very good matchups, and a few outs, which I think made a difference to the flow of the game for both teams. Elliston had little Bria Filter stepping up into goals, and I think she's only in the 15s association side, so that's a huge feather in her cap to step up into an A-grade side this year. Elliston were also missing Rani Tomney and Michelle Willis, who have come over from Eastern Air to play in goals as well. So I think that was really a telling sign for their team, sort of broke up their flow and their ability to move the ball through the ring. But Locke were also a little bit depleted in their side. Unfortunately, Therese Laurie in wing attack went out with an injury, and so they had Ashley Cox, who's previously been playing in A-reserve, come up. And they also had Sadie Curtis step in defence, and she's another young player who stepped up with her older sister, Maisie, who's in goals. Both of them, I think, are under 17, so, a huge pat on the back for them as well. But, very close game, and I think both coaches were very nervous going into the game. So interesting to see that Tumby came out of that 7 goals ahead.
So top of the ladder defeated second on the ladder there, and we also had third on the ladder beating fourth on the ladder. It was Locke over the Ramblers at the other end of the spectrum, a very, very high-scoring offensive game, 72-61.
It was a massive game. Yeah, total opposite end of the spectrum. 132 goals, which I think I worked out is about 2.5 goals a minute. So I think those umpires really had their work cut out, sprinting up and down the sidelines. Just a shout-out to Sally Cabot, who's a 17-year-old who umpired her first A-grade game and was put straight onto that one. So, that really had her no time to think about what she was doing. She was just straight into it. It was interesting because Locke were missing Whitney Micken, Tanya Hubner and Courtney Hull, so 2 defenders and a shooter. So Ramblers probably went into the game feeling fairly confident with a full side. But you just can't underestimate Locke. They are just, they knuckle down, get the job done. I think Chloe Dubois played a very close game on Michaela Richardson. They both play very body-on style netball, and I think they really were well matched. But I think at the end of the day, the accuracy of Jordan Sladden and Lisa Burrows in goals for Locke, they're just very clever players. They have a strong holding game. They play a really tight game in the ring, and I think that's just what kept their noses in front for that game. But a very close game, and yes, I think both teams are glad to get that one out the way.
So 1 beat 2, 3 beat 4, and 5 beat 6 as well. Cummins Kapini 47, Air United 28. So the ladder well and truly maintaining the status quo this week.
Did not change at all. The final game last weekend, Cougars and Air United, unfortunately the score really didn't reflect the quality of the game that was played. It was a lovely, clean, flowing game, and I really think the difference in this game was the Cougars' attack. The Cougars girls had Jet Green stepped back in. She's been off injured for the last few weeks, and so that really made a difference. Tammy Lucina for Air United totally took Sarah Laurie, the young Cougar goalie, out of the game, particularly in the first quarter. But Jet Green, Bree Shepherd and Hannah Green were just a stunning, very accurate lineup in attack for Cougars. Both of the Cougars goalies, once they got their eye in, they hardly missed. Beautiful feeding from the mid-court, and that really was the difference on the day. So another very tight game. Air United girls, Marty Hanrahan and Melinda and Nadia Baldacero, they played some awesome netball, but I think it was the Cougars' attack that really pushed that scoreline out, and another really good game. So ladder doesn't change.
Ladder doesn't change, and that's round 12 wrapped, and we'll take a quick look ahead to round 13. United Yolana are on the bye in round 12, and they're back in action next week, led by the 500-game, soon-to-be 501-game superstar Heather Norton, who we had on the show last week, and we had her on the Sports Hour on Monday as well, and it was great to talk to her. So she'll be back in action against Cummins Kapini this week as United Yolana seek their first win.
Yes, they do. They'll be up against Cougars who will be quite confident after their game against their United. So, heading out to Kapini, and I think it'll be a really good game. I think both teams, they're just lovely personalities on the court. So regardless of the outcome, I think it'll be an enjoyable game for everybody that's involved. I would expect Cougars would just keep their nose in front, but Yolana are just itchy. They're hungry for that first win. So we'll see how that game goes. And then heading up to Lock is the Tumby Bay and Lock matchup. So that'll be a really interesting game. After last week, no change in the ladder. This might be Lock's opportunity to really take it up to Tumby Bay. So, yes, I'll be very interested to see the outcome of that game as well.
And our last game of the round after those two, Lock and Tumby Bay, by the way, will be the match of the round. We've also got Ayr United taking on Elliston Districts.
Yes, Elliston's heading to Ungara, and Elliston should have most of their players back this week. So they're very strong right down the length of the court. I think Ayr United plays some great netball. They've got some really talented players out there. But at this stage, I think Elliston have just shown that they don't have many chinks in their armour. So, all round, I think all three matches will be pretty tight games this week, and definitely good to be a spectator because I think you can really take it all in from the comfort of a little bit of sunshine and hopefully out of the wind and weather. So, good luck to all the teams this weekend.
All right, so that's a look ahead to round 13 in the Great Flinders Netball Association. Elizabeth, thank you very much for joining us. Enjoy the netball this weekend.
Thank you very much. My pleasure.
And moving straight from the Great Flinders Netball Association over to the Eastern Ayr Netball Association, and I'm joined by Christy Turnbull to give us all the info we need. How are you this week, Christy?
Yeah, I'm very well at the end of the school holidays, thanks, Dan.
Very good. Back to reality next week.
Yeah, absolutely.
Great stuff. We'll get straight into the action from round 10 because we had a couple of cracking games, and we'll start off with the thriller. Eastern Rangers getting the upset win over Central Ayr United in a very, very close one, 43-41.
Yeah, look, it's definitely an upset. I think I tipped CEU by about 10 goals, so well done to the Rangers girls for getting that 2-goal win over Central Ayr United. It sounds like the game was a really tight contest and played with high intensity, as we know that definitely the Central Ayr girls do. Rangers certainly wanted to improve on that 20-goal loss from last time that they played them, and they did, and they took home the win. Central United had the lead for a fair portion of the game, but Rangers' fourth quarter was just outstanding from all accounts, and they just pegged their way back. And, it was a really, really good game of netball. Certainly sorry that I missed it out there, actually, at Rideau. I think it would have been, good to be on the sidelines watching that one.
Looking at the ladder, Kimber have got 7 wins, Central Ayr 6, Eastern Rangers 5, and then there's a drop-off to Cowell at 2. So there's a pretty good chance we'll see Eastern Rangers playing Central Ayr United in a final. So probably a preview of a final here. So hopefully Eastern Rangers kept a few tricks up their sleeves.
Yeah, hopefully. I think they're just getting better and better as the season's going on. The Eastern Rangers are really starting to settle as a team, and I think, that win will certainly fill them with confidence if they do come up against, or whoever they come up against in the finals. We've still got a few games before we get to that part of the season.
Certainly do. 5 games left, so we're getting close to finals, but we've got a bit to play out before that. And in our other game over the weekend at Cowell, it was Cowell going down to Kimber Districts 32-54. Not too much of a surprise here, and Kimber Districts stay pretty comfortably on top of the ladder.
Yeah, definitely. Look, not much of a surprise. Cow would be certainly happy with that. Last time they met, it was a 40-goal win to Kimber. So 22 goals, certainly a big improvement for the Cowgirls. Cow were a little bit short. and they had a 15 and a 17-year-old Flavel sisters playing in their shooting last week. Shooting last week. So well done to those two girls. First time they've played A grade together, and fairly intense coming up against some of those experiences Kimber defenders. Ellen Zabel for Kimber just shot at massive accuracy and really changed that game, as she does so well. So, yeah, as you said, Kimber sitting one game clear at the top of the ladder heading into the last round. So it'll be interesting to see what unfolds.
All right, and we'll take a look at round 11, taking a look forward, and it's kicking off with Cal taking on Eastern Rangers. So Rangers fresh off that big win, and they'll probably look to go for another one here.
Yeah, definitely. Rangers come in unchanged. They'll certainly be feeling very confident after that big win against Central United last week. Cal come back in with their full team, so they'll be hoping again for a really tight, really close game, and they'll be looking to continue closing their gaps on the scoreboard. I think it was 20-ish goals last time they met, and it's just getting better and better. But like I said, Rangers will be full of confidence, looking to claw their way up that ladder, hoping to get, a definite, possibly even a second spot the way they're playing coming into finals. So I think Rangers will get the win, but I think it'll be a fairly close game.
And Ports were on the bye last week, but they're back in action this weekend, and they've got a tough challenge against Central Air United, who will be looking to bounce back.
Yeah, definitely. Central Air United will be singing a little bit after their loss last week. I think they would have had a fairly I'd imagine tough training. We know Central United girls play with high intensity, and Ports have really struggled to match that intensity. So Ports have got a couple of out, Courtney Grigg, their goalie, and Hannah Wolford, their main centre court player. So big out for Ports, and it's going to be hard to fill those spots. But they're going to want to come out playing hard and fast netball to match Central United right from that first whistle. Ports will be hoping for a competitive game. Central United are unchanged from last week, and like I said, be definitely looking for a very good win to challenge Kimber for that top spot on the ladder this week.
All right, and Kimber are on the bye this week. Is there any other news around the association before we wrap up, Christy?
Saturday night, Cal have got a 30-year A-grade and C-grade netball premiership reunion with their B-grade football 20-year premiership reunion at their club with a band. So that should be a great night in Cal. If anyone's hanging around and wants to head along, that's happening. Other than that, not too much. Just looking towards 5 games left to the finals. Scary thought, really.
It is. We're on the home stretch now. So that is what's happening in Eastern Air Netball. Thank you very much for joining us, Christy. Looking forward to having a chat again next week.
Yeah, thanks, Sam. Talk to you then.